Welcome to another EBX discussion. And I thank my soldiers and soldierettes. Salute. Because we are back, and I know you're doing great. Because if you are alive and breathing, we are back to fight another day. And let's give a strong honor to our ancestors, of our brothers and sisters that fought to get a lot of us in the state that we are in. Honor thy mother, honor thy father, honor thy sister, and I honor thy brother. And always know, and keep it in your mind and in your have those power thoughts at night, and always make for a positive morning and a positive day. And it's not easy to do this, but most of the ways we can control the next day before we wake up is have those power thoughts at night, brothers and sisters. It takes practice. It takes paying attention to our thoughts. We can do this. And what I say, once we get that one result, that's all it'll take. And I want to give honor and to our families, anyone that transitioned that we held dear, may they rest in peace and in power. And may all of our families prosper and everything we touch turn to gold. Because we got to stay fearlessly, spiritually, physically, mentally strong out here. It is no joke, because we're in a new age. So we got to have new age ways. We got to find different ways to navigate new times, new grind. You know what I'm saying? But at some point, you will no longer have to grind. Everything will just flow. And how can we do this, brothers and sisters? By not giving in or living by the expectations of social media or others. I'll say it again. Never ever live or give in to the expectations of social media or others. And most of the time it's social media, because we all have been caught up. You know, I've been caught up, before some of us, come up out of it and become, what we always say, super duper self-aware. And it's unfortunate some don't reach that point, at least not right away. Some not at all. But never make light of that or make fun of that, because always remember, folks, all of us have been in the beginning stages of whatever we're trying to come out of, because everybody's different situations and different walks. But when it comes to having common sense, quote unquote, and getting past a certain age, and if you are somewhat healthy, and I'll say you're of a mature age, you should know better, unless you have some kind of illness or handicap or some kind of mental thing that you can't control that needs medical attention. I understand all those things, but this is for the ones that know better, and this is brother or sister, because social media can be it can build you up or it can bring you down. It just depends how you are inside as an individual, brother or sister. And that's what make us become soldiers and soldierettes, when we're able to deflect different things, and some things we learn from. Because one thing we do, those of us on a high vibration, we're always looking to learn. That's why we got so many reachers and teachers out here. A lot of us spend our time offline studying and learning. A lot of us just don't get on here and start speaking, or we feel something in our spirit, and that's how that divine works, that greater creator, Mother Nature, the universe. And before I keep going, speaking of nature, welcome to a nature podcast. Look at this forest. See how peaceful that looks, how that sun shining through. I love nature and universe and astronomy and all that kind of stuff. Of course, it's more that I have to learn about it. I don't know enough, but I'm learning. It's beautiful. That's the beautiful part, the process. Kind of like hip hop, music, anything of righteous creation. It's the journey that's what's beautiful, not the destination. And I'm telling you, it just depends on how you are as an individual. If you always practice that power of positivity that I talked about on a podcast I did a couple days ago, and power of positivity always will see you through. You just have to have that strength and have that endurance, and always know thyself, brother or sister. That's very important. I don't care how many times we hear it. Until you reach that point, you'll know what we're talking about. And guess what, brothers and sisters? When we reach that point of a success state in our mind, teach it to someone else. One person at a time. Pebble in the pond. Send that ripple. A lot of brothers and sisters out here that are hurting. And some are, and I tell you, being in denial is the worst prison you can ever be in our minds. When we in denial, deal with our shit. I don't care how uncomfortable it feels. You'll feel better. You'll thank yourself later. And also, you'll be in alignment with that divine. Always keep that divine in our mind. Be one of a kind. Originality. It's a beautiful thing, especially when it's righteous. So that's why we can't get drawn in and caught up in social media, at least not in a negative way, And I heard, I was listening to one of those little mini clips with Denzel Washington, and he said something very important that not all of us now, but some, and most of the young generation, it's not all their fault either, but we can only go off what we observe as, I would say, brothers and sisters that's wise and maybe up in age a little bit. Not old, but just, we done seen some things. So, and one thing that we observe, and one thing he said, is that we have those that's doing any and everything to be influential. And you can get lost in that, in the views. And like I said, we have to add, I've said this before, just have to be careful and ask ourselves questions about things we think we want. Like, I'll use myself an example. Do I really want to be in the limelight? Do I really want to be known by everyone? And I'm not saying be antisociable and don't connect, because it's a beautiful thing when we do vibe and connect to one another as brothers and sisters. But like I've said, and I've showed this on a podcast too, we are all in the position that we are in for a reason. Some of us just don't pay attention to it or aware of it or know that, this universe, this whole big place is very big and very, very huge. I always say, try to imagine looking through the eyes of the great creator, Mother Nature, the universe. Look through the eyes of that higher supreme being, if you will. We can never be as powerful as divine, but try our best to see what that divine sees. So that's why the more and more of us teaching and waking up out here, it makes that momentum, that spiritual realm of righteousness open up even more and showers us even more with that power. But that force needs all of us to be together collectively. So that's what leads me to, be very, very careful of the expectations of social media. And social media more so than others. Because like I said, evil entities can work through an individual, brother or sister, and won't even realize it. Because I've been there. I know what that's like. When you come out of it, when you come out of that, and you have finally can see things and not blinded by social media, then you can begin to teach it and see it in others. And with that being said, I have an example. Talking to a sister yesterday, and she's young, she's 30. And she's an Instagram model, and it's a lot of them on there. And as you all know, before I finish what I want to say, I don't do Instagram like that. I put my music in there. I have no TikTok account, barely on Facebook. I use social media for the good things. I try to be positive. I try to teach, show, and enlighten those. So with that being said, because when one has been on this walk, and this is brother or sister, for a long, long time, and righteousness becomes second nature, it's nothing to you, and your intuition gets heightened, and you start to see things before they come. When you at that state, brothers and sisters, always invest in it, pay attention to it, cultivate it, keep it, don't lose that, because not all of us have that. It's a beautiful thing when we can see things or anticipate things when they come, and it keeps us, it shields us from a lot of drama and misunderstandings and stuff like that. That's why I say don't get lost or give in to the wrong expectation of things. Always step back and analyze. You hear me say that a lot. You'll dodge a lot of, like I said, misunderstandings and a lot of drama. But okay, now I'm saying that to say, I'm gonna go back. I was talking to a young sister on Instagram. We were hitting each other in direct messages, because I don't do direct messages. I don't do Messenger. I'm a pretty private. I'm pretty weary of who I interact with, especially on the internet, because we have to be careful. So, and I have to say, it's a lot of young sisters on Instagram, and she said she was an Instagram model, she's very beautiful. She's attractive. And I always make it a point to say something positive or say something impactful to young sisters that do come in, because I do have a few come in on my direct messages, but some I don't respond to, some I will. But when I do, I always make it a point to say something to uplift them, to say something real, because you got a lot of vultures out here. And I'm not gonna, I'm trying to grow, and we can't grow, and that divine can't work with us if we being toxic. And so, now I know we have our issues that we work with, that we have to work with. I want to reiterate, not that one's perfect or anything like that, but when you become aware, it's just certain things you don't do anymore. So I talked to the young lady, and she was very nice, but I don't think she's not aware, but kind of like in that stage where she's, some individuals are just not quite there yet, but they're almost. And this is kind of what I picked up from her. But she seemed very nice, and she asked could we be friends. I said sure, we could be friends. And I told her she was beautiful, and I told her, you're beautiful, and I'm not just saying that. I told her to never lose her beauty, inside and out. Because you got to remember, folks, how many guys she's probably spoken to before me. Because I think that's the mistake that some of us brothers that do be talking to these girls, Instagram models or whatever, we think that, oh, she likes me and it's just me. No, brothers, a lot of times they probably have talked to other guys too. But I'm not saying that these sisters that are Instagram models, that they're all are sluts or they're whores, nothing like that. Or, some may be, but some may be just a little misguided. And that's what I'm getting at. And might be caught up in the social media thing. And that's what this whole podcast is about. That's what I'm getting at. So that's where being righteous and positive, and you not giving in to things of social media, this is what I'm talking about. When you're outside of that, you can see when others may be somewhat caught up, and that's what I'm talking about. And I think she may be a little caught up. And the reason why I say that, because now she don't reveal herself a lot, but she do show a little too much, And I don't think, especially young sisters, I don't think they should do that, because you never know who you're interacting with. Not luckily, but fortunately, she was interacting with me, with a brother that has some sense about himself and some maturity. That, for one, she was 30, she's young. I got daughters around that age, so that's karma to me. So that's another reason. And I want to be that one brother that didn't do what a lot of other ones do that are caught up. So, and that's good, and that brings back good karma. And I breathe life into her, and I think she don't, like I said, a lot of Instagram models, they don't reveal themselves a lot, but some of them, I think they reveal themselves too much. And and I just told her to take care of herself, and just be careful, because you got to remember, folks, that's someone's daughter, that could be someone's sister, auntie, maybe even a mother. She didn't say. I told her my age too, by the way. I told her I was 52. I like to be honest, because the social media is nothing to play with. We have to be very careful. Then we get ourselves mixed and mangled up in something we can't get ourselves out of. It's a podcast I made. It's called Scenarios Will Save Your Life. I'm telling you, when you step back and you play out scenarios, you be like, whoa. I'm telling you, literally close your eyes when you're coming into situations and you get that feeling that we get in our gut sometimes, like, go with that feeling. Step back, think about it, see why you're getting it, especially if you're doing what I was just talking about, like, conversing with someone and direct message or messenger. And this is brother or sister. Just be careful, brothers and sisters, and be real with yourself. Because when you're real with yourself, it will help you to be real with those you connect with on social media. I'm telling you, do not be fake. Be real. Don't start something that you cannot finish. This is a mistake one used to make in the past. This is when those impulses come in. Men, brothers, we got to be careful of those impulses. Just because we see a beautiful young lady that might be voluptuous, we don't know what's going on with that individual on her end. So, or it could be brother or sister. Same thing for our sisters. They got maybe some of these brothers that's sneaking in your direct messages. Be very careful, because you never know what that individual is doing, if that's an individual on her profile or he or she's profile picture. You have to be very careful. I've talked about things like this before. And I said toxic entities, but I don't think this sister was toxic. She's just young, and she just like everybody else, just on social media trying to get a little, attention. But we have to be careful of that, searching for that attention online, because one has been there, as a lot of us I'm sure has, maybe been caught up at one time before we brought ourselves out of it and start looking at social media for what it is. Because always got to reiterate, we do have legitimate, powerful brothers and sisters out here. I've connected with them. I'm righteous, in a good way. Not to sound like I'm bragging or nothing like that. When you let it flow naturally, those will come to you. Even those that maybe not, like I said, might not be somewhat self-aware. But we help those brothers and sisters. We don't look at the physical. And that's what I did with this sister. And I probably will continue to talk, but I kind of backed off, because I just, you got to be very careful of this social media and how you move and how you navigate. You got to think about things, brothers and sisters. Don't never just jump off of what? An impulse. Now, let's go to the flip side. If I was that old me and I conversed with this young sister that hit me in direct message. Now, the old me would, I want to get that and blah, blah, blah. For one, she's too young, So, and like I said, karma, I have daughters close to that age. So, yeah, you have to be very careful. And karma is something I take very, very serious. And if you want to make it through this life and come through the finish line with victories time after time, brothers and sisters, study karma. Know what karma's all about. Because it's not just bad karma, brothers and sisters. There is good karma. We can manifest good karma on purpose. We don't just have to wait for karma. We can create our own lives. It's all up to us. A good life, a righteous life, And I'm telling you, I don't have to, those that have experienced things coming back to them, they know what I'm talking about. They know I'm not just talking. That's why, create good karma on purpose. Be positive on purpose. Help somebody just out of nowhere. Go outside of yourself. Do something you never did before. Righteously. And it's the gift that keeps on giving. So that's why I came to this conclusion, or, this thought of be careful, don't give in or live by the expectation of social media or others. And like I said, just be careful, my sisters, that's out here in social media land. And if you want to be a model, make sure you watch who you connect with. Make sure they're legit, do your research. Don't just go off your body and how you look, because that could get you in trouble. Because a brother like me, I want the spirit, the mind, and somewhat of age. 30's too young. It really is. You got to be real with yourself like that. You can't just look at the physical. Again, folks, everybody we encounter, and this is me too, I'm not perfect, but that's why I try my best to be authentic, to be as transparent as I possibly can, because we are connected to people. There's real people on these lines, online, in these comments and chat rooms. They're not robots, brothers and sisters. They are real people. They are people too. So we have to make sure, we have to keep that in mind, that we are humans and not robots. So again, I'll put a little warning out there, brothers and sisters. Be careful in these direct messages, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. Just be careful who you're conversing with in these secret chats and who you're speaking with in Messenger and direct message. Don't live by, be careful of the expectations that others have of you. You know, you got to be careful of that and stick to your guns, especially if you're righteous and you trying to make a righteous impact in this world. Don't let nothing stop that, because all it takes is one wrong choice, brothers and sisters. What did T.I. say in that song? Big things popping, small things stop it. So just remember that. Don't let this road that we all have, all our brothers and sisters, our reachers and teachers, my family, friends, all the things that we have done and accomplished and conquered to get to this ground that we're standing on now. Don't let some little insignificant thing or some stupid on social media, some little small little thing that can fester into something big and just mess it up. And you know how social media is. People will blab you, so that's why you gotta stay righteous. And a lot of times that divine will test you. You gotta be careful. If you're on a divine walk, those negative forces, they will come. They will come aggressively, or they might come subtle. So that's why you just have to be righteous at all times. I just don't know no other way to put it. You have to be righteous as much as we can, because you never know when we'll get those attacks out of nowhere. So that's my thought. And I'll say again, be very, very careful and practice the art of navigation, because you better know how to navigate or you will get caught up into the expectations. Never give in and never live by the expectations of social media or others. And I honor your family and I honor my family. Reachers and teachers, salute. I honor those that helped a brother along the way, outside my family and in my family. I honor my children. I honor their mothers, brothers and sisters all over the world. May you have peace in your part of the world, wherever you are, right now. 1.